What we try to do is raise the bar, give something new to the sales force to help them sell better, to help them sell more efficiently, more effectively. So if we take a look at the life of one of these sales reps. Now, one of our typical, we call them DMs, so if I say DM, typical DM is somebody who was just hired, in a lot of cases, out of college. How do they know who to go after? How do they know who to target? Sales has gotten very, very complex. With all the competition out there, it's much more complex than it used to be. How can we help our particular sales reps be more effective, be more efficient, and make greater impact on their numbers? So the goal here was to implement predictive analytics. The first step was actually to create something called our direct marketing initiative. And what that was supposed to reinvent sales. It was supposed to identify candidates and targets and directly market to them as opposed to going through our sales force to market to them. Push came to shove or whatever, and we kept the sales model the old way, but we still were able to deliver predictive analytics to the sales force. If you're going to embark on predictive analytics, it is really all about the data. Making sure the data is clean, making sure the data is available. And there's really, I view it as two types of data. There's the internal data, and there's the external data. And if you take what you have in all of these data points and bring them together, it actually presents something rather compelling that you use not just for predictive analytics and selling, but also for BI and reporting and predictive defection and all kinds of other things. This particular slide I could talk about for 4 days because it just doesn't end, but we tried to simplify it. So on the left-hand side, we have all of the external data partners that we use. And there's actually more that's what's listed off here. So I buy D&B, and I buy InfoUSA, and I buy OneSource, and data from Facebook and Twitter and everything else. All of the external data feeds that we're all talking about. But you know what? The power of all of this really lies in what you have internally. You have history of what your clients have purchased, who purchased them, when they purchased it, when they terminated, how much they paid, all of the information about internal data that you have. And at ADP, we have a tremendous amount of internal data. So we're talking about some of our payroll data. We're restricted with what we can and can't use, but still I can certainly use some high-level data points to identify and to plot all of that data. So if I know what this group of people look like, who are my best clients that we've had, and I can model it against everything that's coming from the outside data sources, I can identify who I'm going to target after. Now that we have all of the data, what do we do with it? So the data it's all about taking this data, putting it in one place, and start to do some predictive analytics. Try to identify a candidate. And maybe this particular person is an upsell opportunity. Or maybe this is a new candidate from a prospect from the outside. All of these potential attributes from all of these data points comes through, and we start identifying true sales opportunities based on predictive patterns. Once we identify the predictive opportunity, present it back to the sales rep, in this particular case using the tool Prism, which actually handles the whole mechanism there. In the tool Prism, it tells them who they should be going after. So the idea here is to present back, and what we're going to do here is we're actually going to prioritize, the resolution's not so good here, who my highest opportunities are. We actually calculate what the estimated roll call or sales value is of that particular sale back to the sales rep, and all key information. So from a list processing standpoint, we could actually generate a list and say, go after it in this particular direction. It goes a lot further than this in that once that we're into one of these what we call a play, it will give us all of the information that I spoke about, but it will also come back and give me talking points. This is very important for my telesales reps. They're on the phone, and they're talking to somebody, and they don't know what to say based on one of these events that occurred, one of these predictors that has come up. And what they do, it'll actually present in front of them what they should be saying based on the predictive purchase that came up. Another cool feature that we make use of is who else has sold something similar to somebody similar. Once again, we're doing all of this modeling, so we're identifying all of these trends. Hey, John Smith in the cubicle, 3 cubicles down from me, has sold somebody that looks almost identical to mine. Maybe I should give him a call. Better yet, maybe I should use Chatter. We're going to have that soon, right? Maybe I should go into Chatter and say, hey, what did you do special to make this sale? And come back and tell us. Now, of course, with 570,000 clients, I'm going to get a lot of similarities and a lot of cases to let them start speaking to one another. So the whole thing is around identifying patterns in data and allowing my sales reps to go after who they should be going after first. And the adverse of that is don't go after the people that there's no chance of buying. So what are the results? So the accounts visited in Prism, so more likely to generate an opportunity. So if they go into Prism and they use that as the tool to identify who they should be going after, they have a 52% greater chance of creating an opportunity, as opposed to just, once again, going in off of a dumb list. Okay, that's a pretty good number, right? But what does that really mean in terms of dollars and cents? So the top Prism users, basically what they've done is they've had 29% more opportunities, which we call an executive overview schedule, which means we're actually going to go in there and make a presentation to somebody. 20% more unit sales, closed won. And once again, these are people year over year, and 34% higher quota achievement. Mid-market hunters, and the only reason I bring this example doesn't mean anything to you. Mid-market means these guys are selling to companies with 50 to 100 employees, and they're prospecting. They're finding new accounts. Tough job. They're not upselling. They're using these small to mid-sized type companies. And they found a huge gain as well, with 30% more opportunities, 19% more unit sales, and a 74% higher quota attainment. That's kind of an interesting number, because what the tool helped them do, it helped them identify their bigger opportunities and identify more and pull more things together. It's something pretty interesting. This was another gee whiz that I didn't plan on. This was not in my original business case to fund this entire project to get it moving. And that was, so everybody here has a sales team, right? You got to bring a new sales guy in, salesperson in, and this particular salesperson has to get acclimated as soon as possible, because there's nothing more expensive than a dead sales territory. So how long does it take you to do that? How long before that particular sales rep is productive? 6 months, 9 months, 3 months? Or you just give them the book and say start calling, and they're not going to be very productive anyway. So the idea is always a strategy of ours is to bring these newbies up to speed more efficiently, more effectively, certainly a lot quicker. So what we were able to do with these, what we call trainees, the trainees that use Prism actually were able to generate 151% more opportunities, once again, executive overview scheduled, and 166% more unit sales than their peer groups that didn't use the tool. So one of the interesting things that we found with Lattice engines, we actually did a pretty good study, and RFP when we entered this was pure and simply the B2B. Found lots of B2C experience out there, tons of it, but there wasn't too much in the B2B arena. And I will tell you this stuff does work if you do it right. The data expertise that they brought, and this was paramount as well, because as I said very early on, the data is probably the biggest part of this project. Getting the data in place, finding it, moving it, and getting somebody that understands the data, can understand your data, and also understands external data sources, because they brought a couple ideas to us in terms of other external data sources that might be able to be put in this. Obviously, tight integration with Salesforce.com. True tangible benefits. I mean, I have to report on this on a monthly basis on my numbers. The tool is flexible. The examples I gave are all in one business unit. That business unit has been deployed now for a year. We did it first for upselling, then we did it for prospecting. Right now, we are in development for 3 other of my business units, 2 smaller units and another very, very large business unit as well. My global president of sales basically was quoted as saying, this is a tool that every sales rep should have on their desk, just like a stapler.